All right, so which one of us was the easiest one to take care of? Me, right?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
So what was it like the day that I was born? Because I wasn't there yet.
It was real hot. Dad was, they were chopping hay, and I think I went out to the field to tell him that I had labor pains, and then he still didn't come for a long time. They had finished loading and then he told Dick and them he had to go, so we didn't leave for the hospital till close to evening, I think. And then you weren't born till just before midnight.
Okay.
We were there a long time, yeah.
And Ken?
Ken, Ken was the one where we almost waited too long. I was trying to remember which was which. Here, you know, it was the first part of May, and Dad was so behind with field work. So he was working in the field that night. He said, "You put the porch light on if you want me to come home," because he was across the road, he could see it. And so I did put the porch light on around 11 o'clock. I had waited a while. And then he came home and showered, and I felt sorry for him. I said, "Why don't you take a nap yet?" And so he laid down a while, and I don't remember what time we started out. We stopped at Dr. Marshall's in Homestead like we had to, and he got excited. He said, "I'm riding with you." You know, we went to St. Luke's in Cedar Rapids. Yeah. And he said, "I'm riding with you," and he told Dad, "Don't stop for any red lights unless there's a car coming." You know, during the night they're all red during the city.
Right.
And so he didn't. We got to the hospital, and they had a bed out by the front door on the street already waiting for me. He had called ahead, you know.
Yeah.
But we were still there an hour before Ken was born. And Garth was...
Keep going. I'm just going to pull a shade. Go ahead. So, Garth?
Then we didn't start out too early either. But, yeah, see, then like we always have to stop, Dr. Marshall would check you before he send you on to the hospital. And he told us to go on, and we went in. Then after a while the contractions got to come a lot closer and faster. And then they told me, "Oh, you can't have him yet because your doctor isn't here." I said, "Forget it, I'm not waiting." And so I found out later it was an intern that delivered him. His first baby he had ever delivered, and Garth had cord wrapped around his neck. That was a pretty close call that time. His head was even kind of blue already. And I saw him, and then they rushed him to an oxygen tent. And then Dad came back the next day. This was in the afternoon. And I was upset. I said, "I still haven't seen him, and nobody tells me how he is." And Dad said, "I will find out." And he took off like a streak, and he was gone a while. And then he came back, and he said, "I saw him, and they say he's doing okay, but they won't take him out of that, you know, to bring him in and stuff." And by the time we came home after a couple of days, why, his color had kind of come back already. That was pretty close. And then the intern came in the next day and talked to me, and that was his first baby, and I thought, boy, that had to be hair-raising for him, too, with the cord wrapped around the baby's neck and stuff. That was kind of close with Garth that time.
And then Gary?
Gary, I don't remember too much.
How about Doug?
Oh, Doug, remember, you probably remember that. It was tornado warnings that night, and we hated to leave. And then we told you to watch TV all night, you know, and if they say Iowa County, bring everybody in the basement. And of course, we had to be on the road to Cedar Rapids in the storm. And I know we got there, though, and I know it was lightning and stuff terribly. But we were there in plenty of time. We went in the evening, and let's see, he wasn't born either till just before midnight, I think. But I remember, you know, when you're up on a higher floor,
Right.
and oh, it was lightning and stuff. That was scary. And the thing I remember then, so nobody said a word after he was born, and I know why, because it was another boy. They all thought it would be a girl, because he was a week early, and everybody kind of thought that he'd be a girl. And after he was born, nobody said nothing, and I thought, then I knew it was another boy. The doctor didn't say anything. He even felt bad.
I think I remember, but how did you and Dad end up together? Because
Well, really what started it was, you know, we as a youth group, we had to write the servicemen a letter, and I got Dad's name. And just, you know, so they get mail and stuff. And Dad got a wrong impression. Anyway, he came home in June, and then we started dating that fall, I think. September, October, sometime in there. And we only went together for a year, then we got married, and I wanted to get married on Valentine's Day. And then my folks wanted us to get married that fall. Yeah, you know, they celebrate at home. Then
right.
You didn't go anyplace. And they thought it'd be warm enough at the machine shed if we still had it, you know. So we did in October. And poor Dad, he was busy. He put in new stair steps in the house. He was afraid they'd break through if a lot of people walked up and down. And he really worked hard to get things ready, and then we got married, and then they said we could live with them. You know, we couldn't get into ours till the 1st of March. Eldon's dad had bought that farm, and Orville Willys lived there.
Oh, really?
And then, of course, they wouldn't move till the 1st of March, and then we could get in. So we stayed with my folks, and then Dad went home every day and worked, you know, helped his dad. And
you got sick.
And I got virus pneumonia that night, that winter. I was really, really sick for 4 weeks, I think. But we were, you know, and my folks said, yeah.
So you moved in late, actually.
Huh?
Didn't you move in late? Dad was in the house by himself?
Yeah, right. Dad was there by himself. Was it a month even? Or for a while anyway. Till I was strong enough to move too, yeah. Yeah, he had moved by himself, yeah.
So you said Grandpa Wetjen used to come out to the farm. When did Grandpa Wetjen retire?
Oh, he was young. I mean, you know, he had the boys. He didn't work anymore. And, you know, they lived on a farm out there. And when we lived there and you guys were little, he'd always come over. Well, he helped Dad some, too, drive tractor every once in a while for him and stuff. But, like I said, he'd come over every morning and he'd sit in the kitchen and watch you guys play and stuff. And he got such a bang out of that one dog. And I think that was when Garth was little. You know, we had that walker. Nobody walked early, but we could set him in the stroller, and
Had
they
wheels on, yeah.
wheeled themselves around. And he was on the lawn with it a lot too. And well, that's the one you fell off the porch with too. And that dog would, if somebody come in the yard, even Grandpa Wetjen came, the dog would not let him get close to the stroller. He kept walking around and around the stroller. And Grandpa couldn't get over that, how that dog protected the little children. He was good. It was an awful good dog.
That was Brownie, I think.
Was a Brownie that
yeah.
time. We had so many, I don't remember. Anyway, remember, were you along that time when Shorty Willie drove over one? I don't know why we were all at the other place, and Dad had a hay rack and tractor, and I was along too. And you kids, or at least Gary was. And the dog, you know, was messing underneath, and Shorty came from the south, and just the minute he went by, the dog came out from underneath the wagon, and he hit it and killed it. And Gary said, "You killed my dog." And, you know, Shorty was feeling terrible already, and then Gary told him that he felt bad, but we told him, "You couldn't help it. The dog came in at the last minute and run right in front of him." He was at the other place with us. I don't know what we did. We were all there. And the dog, and you run out and you run over. We had lots of dogs. I don't remember their names all, but I don't know.
We had Brownie was the one that we had when I was growing up, and then there was Chocolate.
That's right.
And I don't remember the one that kept diving through the basement window. It was afraid
Oh,
of.
yes.
That was the one that, I think, didn't Dad ask Gary or Doug about shooting the dog? But yeah, because it kept diving through the glass, breaking the window out.
Yeah, wasn't that something though that time? It was stormy, and we were all in the basement, and the dog came through the window and crawled underneath you boys' legs. We were sitting in the fruit room on the floor, the boys, and that dog came in and crawled under their legs. That was really something that dog knew that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep, he went right through the window and fell down on the door, heater, hot water heater, and came in the other room where we were.
We used to, when we were little kids, you would work in the garden all the time. So where were we when?
Oh, you were around. I tried to watch, you know, either look in the window to see if you were okay. You know, I had you in playpens a lot when you were little. And I would, a lot of times, just look in the window, because if you'd see me, then you'd want out, and I could check, you know, if you were okay or not. And I just looked in the window. Oh, and I remember that one time, it was Garth and Gary when they were younger. I looked out to see, wonder what they were doing. Here they had pulled up all my peas and had a big pile of peas on the lawn, and they were sitting there eating them. They love green peas. And here they had pulled them all up out of the garden and had this pile, and they were sitting with them and eating them. And I looked out the window. Oh, you could think of more things to do. If nobody answered, I knew I had a luck if I hollered, because then you were someplace where you weren't supposed to be. And I think it was Garth and Gary that were sliding down the machine shed roof. You know, it had a metal roof on it, and I looked out, and I'll be switched. And you know, that was quite a drop down.
Yeah.
Could have really gotten hurt. Oh, remember though, that Millensby here, they were in at Grandma's, but the girls were always at our place. and we had that small house, but they had so much to do and so much fun out there. It was a Tammy or a Carla once that had crawled halfway up the silo when I checked. Oh, that scared me. But she didn't realize that it was dangerous. They always had more fun coming out there.
I was talking to Mary Miller yesterday. We were talking about the old schoolhouses.
Oh, you got to see Mary already, too.
Yeah. And Dad bought 2 schoolhouses. I remember, was it out by Drucker's or somewhere, those out east, where he bought 2 schoolhouses that he took down, and I think he used the lumber for the corn crib, or part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were more in that time, yeah, you know, in the country, yeah.
We used to have salesmen come out to the farm.
Huh.
They're like the Fuller Brush Man, some of the salespeople.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, what was his name? Hildegard. His name was Hildegard, I think. He sold stuff. He'd come out in a full of brush.
And you just went to Emmanuel School, but just through 7th grade.
Yeah. Well, I took 8th grade. I got an 8th grade certificate. At Christmas time, I decided I'd take both grades. And I have to give my dad credit. He sat up with me. You know, I had to sit up till midnight every night because I didn't have time in school and for both grades to do all the homework and stuff. I sat up till midnight every night, and my dad would always sit with me till I was ready to go to bed. And then I passed 8th grade too. I made it. I decided at Christmas I wanted to have an 8th grade certificate at least. They wanted me home because Grandma already wasn't feeling good, and I was supposed to help her.
I'm going to close the door.
Doug was the easiest when he was little. You know, you guys were all there.
Yeah.
And Garth would always change him, even as little as he was. And I still always remember one day Garth came out with him. I dressed him up once. You always have them old sleepers on him. And he had a Sunday outfit on him. And all I could think of, it was Friday, I'd have to wash it yet and get it, you know, ironed by Sunday, because everybody did get dressed up all the time for Sunday. And I got such a bang out of that. He dressed him up once, but he would change him. And he and Gary especially, they would lay him on the floor and they'd lay next to him, you know, and he'd kick like babies do, and they had a little football they'd put in front of his feet. They just had him as a toy. And they'd get a bang out of it, you know, when he'd hit that football and kick it. But boy, when everybody went to school, I was in trouble. Then he was lonesome. There's nobody around to play with him. But, oh, that's right, you said you were gone. You know,
Well,
he did not want to go to school. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Then you ends up and goes to college 5 years, too.
Well, and you said that the first day he went to school, he got sick?
Yeah, the second day. The first day he went, and the second morning he said he didn't feel good. But I got him ready and got him on the bus. And at noon, Miss Floyd Hidepool was the teacher, called, and she just laughed. I mean, she knew he didn't want to go to school. And I felt so bad. I said, he told me he didn't feel good, but I didn't believe him. You know, I just figured it was because he didn't want to go to school. She said, yeah, he'll keep us on our toes, won't he? And she giggled. She said he has 101 temperature. So I got him. Well, then he was home, the rest of the week. Then we had to go through the same thing again when he had to go back to school. He didn't want, he wanted to stay home with Mom and Dad. Dad said, I'll remind him of it when he gets to be a teenager.
Yep.
But he got over it.
So when you went to school, did your dad have a car, or how did you get? Because you didn't live that far from school.
No, but he brought us when it was muddy or something. He had an old truck. That's what he took us to school with
Okay.
when it was muddy. We walked most of the time.
Yeah.
With the Walter boys, was Leroy Walter and 8 of them. They came from farther back. Bill and Elmer and Henry Fanassen. Once in a while we would all walk together.
Now, did the Vanazens live across the road where Hank and Laverna lived, or?
Yeah, that's where they
That was their
lived. See,
home
Grandma
place.
Glander lived, on one side,
Right.
the road, and the Fanazes lived on the other side. And then we lived, down the hill,
Right.
my folks, yeah.
And then your grandparents lived just to the north of that corner there, didn't they? Grandpa Glandorf's dad, Mom and Dad? I think that where Uncle Rudolph used to live.
You mean by church?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the creamery, was there a York Creamery there when you were?
Yeah. Yeah.
You walked past that on the way to school?
Halfway down the hill there on the first mile, yeah. There was a York Creamery down there.
Because that was gone when I was born, I think.
Yeah.
Or I don't remember it.
Yeah, they moved to town, I guess it was now.
Yeah.
Sure, it was in town, yeah. Yeah, that was out there all the time.
So who were your close friends when you were in grade school? Or what games did you play at recess when you were at school?
Oh, that I don't remember. I really don't remember what I know we played house kind of when we were in that little school behind church in the lower grades. And then we pretend we would go out to do chores or something. We go out to the toilet and back.
So the toilet was outside?
Yeah, the toilets were outside, yeah. Yeah, that was a little schoolhouse where the lower grades were, with Gertrude Ullman. Oh, and that always reminds me of Dorothy Joseph. She was such a baby, and Gertrude had her on her lap a lot. She'd cry and stuff, and she was the same class and whatever, but she'd have her on her lap and stuff.
When did they move to the new school across this road?
Yeah, I wonder too what year it was when they built that. See, when we got to be in the upper grades, then we went across the road. That was really always something, when you got to go there. But what year that was built, I don't remember. And that, had a basement under it. Well, it had a stage and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's where...
Great rooms upstairs. And the confirmation room was in the middle one.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I used to teach second grade reading.
Okay.
Trying to think of who Lynn Evans was the teacher then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I would help out. So, yeah. So, how many people were in your confirmation class?
Oh, Lucille Bell, Bernice Newkirk, Dorothy Joseph, Henry Van Ozen, Lauren Van Ozen, Mervyn Van Ozen, Edgar Heitzes, Lily Walder. Did I say Dorothy Joseph?
Yeah.
There's Laura Imhoff, I think. We were with 15.
Wow. That's a big class. That's a big class.
Yeah. Normans were, what, 21 or 22, I think. But after that, you know, the classes always got smaller.
Right.
Man,
right.
nowadays there's just a few. Yeah, there was a lot of in the class. We were with 10 girls and 5 boys.
Well, that had to make it easier for the teacher. Having the girls instead of guys.
I don't know, yeah.
So what did you want to do when you wanted to go to high school?
I wanted to be a teacher. But you know, there wasn't such a thing. I didn't even get to go to high school. You know, there was no buses then, and the folks wouldn't think of, you know, driving you. Well, then when Norman got confirmed, he got to go to high school because he was driving. He could drive the car. At that time, you know, the girls didn't drive. And then they said I could go with him yet, and I didn't want to be in the same class as he was. So I didn't go at all. But Norman got to go. But Mervyn didn't want to go to high school either. He didn't get a high school diploma either.
Okay, so he didn't. Did he go to high school at all, Mervyn?
Mervyn didn't know. He didn't want to go to school, and you know, then you didn't have to, like
Right.
now you would have to. He stayed home and helped Grandpa ready, you know. Yeah, it's the same. Now I feel kind of sorry for Garth. I guess maybe I did then too. He brought it up yet not so long ago. He didn't get to play football because Dad wanted him home to help him harvest. And the football coach even came out to our place. He wanted Garth to play. And Dad said no, he had to have help when he was harvesting. And Garth helped him. Of course, Garth was, what you might say, handy or ready, you know, with helping and stuff. And so I feel kind of bad about that. I know he felt bad because he would have really liked to play.
But Garth and Gary played basketball. Gary
Yeah.
played basketball.
Yeah.
But Gary didn't play football or baseball either, did he? I think Doug played
Yeah,
baseball and basketball.
yeah. Gary played some basketball, but, you know, it wasn't really his thing, yeah.
Yep. And so I'm trying to think, I went away to college in '69, and you guys moved in here '79. What?
You know, I'm wondering, I just can't remember.
when we were out on the farm, we didn't have a bathroom in
Oh, no.
that house.
We never had one till when Ken was little, I think. And Dad made one on the back porch, you know, on the north side. A bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
You know. And we didn't have water in the house either at first. We went out to the well to get, you know, water and stuff. And the pump, rainwater was, you know, outside east of the house.
Right, the cistern, yeah.
Cistern, yeah. No, there was nothing updated in that house actually when we moved there. No furnace, no windows, no storm windows, so it was cold. But then Dad got storm windows. I think after the first year that helped already.
And then we had fuel oil stoves in the house.
Yeah.
For a while anyway.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I remember you dress in the dining room usually by the stove, you know, the rest of the house was so cold in the upstairs.
So I think before you built on, because what used to be the parlor became your bedroom, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Before that, we just used the 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Right, yeah. I don't remember what year that was either, that we built on the living room.
Then we had to dig out the basement underneath of it,
Yeah.
haul the dirt out.
Yeah, that was a little house for all the people we had in there.
Yeah.
The rooms were, I remember the kitchen, you know, that was really small. And then usually the boys would want to play where I was at, you know, with their toys. And more than once I'd almost fall over some because the floor, you know, wasn't that big for all of us and toys too.
And we had the dining table in the kitchen too. That's where we ate.
But we got by. You can't quite picture how you ever had room for everybody, but we did, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know, you had no clothes dryer. Oh, I remember how tickled I was when Dad got me the dishwasher. Oh, that was so nice with all the dishes. And I never got a dryer until Doug was little. You know, I always hung it outside.
And you had diapers back then.
Or the clothes rack by the stoves.
Yeah. Yeah, and you didn't have, or you had diapers back then instead of disposable diapers.
Yeah.
A lot of diapers to wash.
Yeah, Wes Cranston always made fun of my clothesline. Of course, he liked to tease all the shirts on the line. And I was told him I ironed every one of them, too. He was a good mailman. I always remember, you know, you were in California already, and you had sent Christmas gifts. And I had been gone that day, and I never did go back to the living room till towards evening, and here there's all these packages underneath the Christmas tree. And I thought, where in the world did they come from? Here, Wes had brought them in the house. I wasn't there, so he went and put them underneath the tree. That was really something, and I'll never forget that. I wasn't there, so he brought them in the house and put them underneath the tree. And they were, that you had sent, a bunch of them, yeah.
So we used to have chickens, and I remember butchering chickens behind the house.
Yeah, we'd have our But then, you know, the chicken house was in not very good shape. We gave up chickens before long. But yeah, that was our income. We'd sell the eggs and, you know, which wasn't much, naturally, that we buy groceries from.
And I remember we had the machine in the basement that would go back and forth, and you'd put the bucket of eggs in and it had water in it, and it would
Yeah,
back and forth.
egg watcher, yeah. Yeah, we had chickens, and like I said, that was your income kind of for groceries, selling eggs. So remember Ed Mahan, he picked them up. They would come around and pick them up, the egg gardens, egg
And then
cases.
you used to help with milking cows on your first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd milk at night, like in the spring when Dad was in the field and stuff. I learned how to use a milking machine, and I would milk it. He'd milk in the morning, and I milked at night then, so he wouldn't have to stop.
Where would we be?
Huh?
I said, where would we be?
Yeah, you were supposed to watch Garth, and then you and Ken would take off, you know, playing someplace else. And I'd always have to have one eye outside the barn because I had him in this walker, and he'd move around, and you guys had taken off. You were supposed to be watching him. And for some reason, he always headed up the hill towards the road. You know, it was uphill from the barn up to the driveway, and with his walker. And I always had to keep one eye on him. He was determined to go up that way, and you guys had taken off. You were supposed to be watching him while I was milking. Yeah, when you think back now, how you ever got done, but we did, and we made a good living too after a lot of hard work. Dad did, I should say.
And you used to go to dances at
We went a lot.
Swisher or Walford, or where was it?
At Fairfax. Was a royal ballroom. And then after that, Birdway, yeah, it was Walford, and it was an old school building they made into a dance hall. Yeah, we went a lot, and Vicki and I talk about that. We used to see each other there. Not that we really knew each other, but
Right.
we remembered, yeah. They did too, they went. Yeah, after you guys were a little older, although we had Carolyn Swarting babysit too.
Yeah, I remember that.
But when I guess you guys were older to stay alone, we went oftener, I know.
And so where did you learn to dance?
Just from Dad, yeah. I don't
Where
know.
he learned to dance?
I don't know where he learned it. He and Virgil and them used to run around. I don't know if that's how they learned or what. I have no idea. Oh man, I thought about that here last week. I think it was when Ron Anderson was here. What song did he play? Oh, I couldn't help but think we used to love to dance to that. Now I forgot what it was. He plays accordion and sings. Oh, I think it was Peggy Wardenberg when she was here. I don't remember which one it was, but oh, I thought it was one of our favorite ones all the time. It was a fast one, yeah. Yeah, we went to a lot of them really after you guys got older and couldn't stay home. And you know, we went bowling a lot the latter years too. In Iowa City, Colonial Lanes. It was only 75 cents. They had senior prices or whatever.
Now, Dad taught us to trap
Huh?
Dad taught us how to set traps and trap.
Yeah.
Did he do that when you were
He did
first?
that already when we got married. When we lived with my folks that winter, he would take off anyway to help his dad do chores, but he went trapping all the time. Well, that was a little extra money
Yeah.
too, you know. Yeah, he did that a lot the first years.
Because he was the one that taught us how to set traps and how to skin the animals and
And remember they went fox hunting, was
yeah,
it?
yeah,
He and
Virgil.
Virgil? Yeah.
Yeah, they used to go fox hunting a lot.
Yeah.
They'd hang them up on the windmill.
Yeah. Oh, he and Virgil used to have more fun together, going hunting together.
Now, Reba's not from around here originally, is she?
No, she's from south of Des Moines. What was her name?
And
See, she worked in Cedar Rapids. That's how he met her at Dance
oh,
Land.
okay.
That's how he met her. She worked in Cedar Rapids, yeah. She and Elvira Newkirk, Dorothy Joseph's sister.
So who else did you go? You went with Virgil and Reba to the Royal Ballroom?
Mostly Virgil and Reba, yeah. I don't remember when that was when Merlin and Laverna went. You know, we went together with them too, but not as much. It was always Virgil and Reba.
Yeah. So can you think of a time when one of us really got into trouble? No, that's
No.
good.
Not really. No. I know I worried a lot when you first started driving cars. It seemed like one was just old enough that I felt comfortable. Then the next one started driving.
Yeah.
And then, oh, that was always a worry of accidents. And then, you know, after that happened to Gary anyway. It was a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah, Grandma Wetjen was in the hospital then.
Yeah. That's where they had been to visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still wonder if he fell asleep or why they went off the road. Because, you know, the Ray Wittenbergs had been together with
Right.
him at the pizza house.
Right. Yeah, he could have easily just fallen asleep. Could have been a deer, too, for that matter.
Yeah.
But, because I know, as I remember, I wasn't here, but he had worked that day and had gone deer hunting, or had gone hunting as well, I think, pheasant hunting, and then went in to see Grandma
Let's see, I forgot.
and then
Yeah.
went out with Larry Wardenberg's after they went to the hospital.
Yeah.
It would have been a long day. But
Yeah, I thought about, I don't know how come just lately, whether we talked to somebody or what. And, you know, Iowa County was really upset that time. Johnson County, they called, you know, us on the phone at 3:30 in the morning. Do you have a son named Gary? And I said, yeah. Well, he was killed in a car accident, and his body is at Mercy Hospital. You know, what a shock, my stars. And then had to do the same thing to Myers because we wanted to get up there, and I just called them on the phone, and boy, it didn't take them long to get up there either.
Yeah, that was a long week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I must have been Kent Wetjen. His birthday must have been just a couple weeks ago, or Kent McManamy,
Yeah, it wasn't much a thing.
because Todd posted Kent's picture on the internet
Oh, really?
and mentioned something about his brother, and
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. He put
I
it-
see Todd's almost every Sunday. They park here in the handicap. He and his family, they come. Just wondering if it isn't after church.
Could
And
be.
they spend maybe an hour, not much longer, push early, and then they leave again. Well, they probably go home for lunch or whatever. They park right out here, and if I happen to think about it, I see him.
So when you moved out to the farm with the home place, when did Dick end up at that house? When did Dick start farming? Because Dad and Dick and Harlan farmed together.
Yeah.
Dick started farming before Harlan, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he got out of the service, maybe?
Boy, I don't know. Yeah.
Tell you what, I'm gonna
Yeah, I just